Well, hello. Welcome to Cornbread Creek Farm. I'm Perry. Today I got a special treat for you. We're going to be doing some pickled eggs today. I've got all my eggs here that my hens has laid over the last few days. So we're going to get these ready to go. What we're going to do first, I got 2 pots I'm wanting to fill up with water. Come on, let me bring you over here. Let's go here to the sink. I've got this one pot that I'm going to put my eggs in and let them boil. Let me kind of back up this a little bit. And then my other pot that I'm going to use is where I'm going to use my canning. Now this is a pressure canner, but I also use it for when I do water bath canning. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to this has got a line on it. Right down here that shows how tall I fill it up to do water bath canning for pint jars. I'm going to be using pint jars, not quart jars. So for starters, I'm going to go ahead and get some water running in here for my eggs. And once I go ahead and filling up, I'll go ahead and be taking my eggs and go ahead and putting them in here. Well, I'm gonna go backwards on it where I don't want to crack none of them. All right, you can look over here and see about how much water I have in there. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just taking these eggs and just place them in here real quick. Last I counted, I think I had 25 eggs. I've got 4 hens. They lay 3 to 4 eggs a day, so I can have as much as a dozen eggs every 3 days. So I can realistically have 2 dozen a week, which is a lot. So I have to do something with them, so we're just gonna pickle them up. All right, now then, what we'll do, I'm gonna go ahead and get my water running over here in my pot for my water bath canning. And we're gonna go ahead and just take this, other pot and just move it over here to the stove. All right, so I've got it over here on the stove. I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm just gonna cut it on high and let it start heating up there. Go ahead and put a lid on it, make it cook this a little bit faster. I'm gonna go ahead and let this get up, and then while we're doing this, I'm gonna go ahead and be getting everything ready for my jars. It's hard to see in here, but there's a line that I can fill it up to right there, and that lets me know that it will cover the lids. So just as soon as it gets filled up, we'll go ahead and put it on the stove and let it be heating up, because it has so much water it takes a while to get it boiling. Go ahead and show you this. Some of the ingredients that I'm gonna be needing is just some white vinegar. I'm gonna use some apple cider vinegar, a little dill weed, got some minced garlic, just got some mixed pickle spices that Ball makes, and we're not gonna need that. I'm gonna do some pickles a little bit later, so we don't need that. I don't know why I've got that over here. But we are gonna need some baking soda, and I'll show you why in a minute. It's a secret. So stay with me and we'll show you what that secret is. All right. I've got that full. And like I said, it holds a lot of water, so it's kind of heavy and it takes a long time to heat up. So we'll go ahead and just move it over here to the stove. And I'll go ahead and just cut the eye on high. Go ahead and let that be heating up. Now we're waiting on that. I'm gonna go ahead and get my onion ready. I didn't show you I'm gonna need an onion. Let me find what I did with it. It was over there behind my my vinegar. So let me So I'm gonna do this onion. Let's go ahead and go ahead and peel a little bit of this off. Get some of this outer skin off of it. Now I didn't grow this onion. Everything else, usually vegetable wise, I grow myself, but I just hadn't ever got into growing onions yet. I ain't gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna cut this thing up. All right, let's go ahead and just cut some of this onion off here. I didn't do a good job cutting it to start with. There we go. Now I'm just gonna kind of just cut it down the center there. Now I'm just gonna just slice it up a little bit. All right, get some of these end pieces out of here that I don't really want. There we go, that'd be plenty. In each pint jar, I'm only gonna put about 5 slivers in each one, so I can get rid of a lot of this innermost stuff. And I get rid of this outside skin too. All right, I think we got that slivered up pretty good. All right, them eggs is heating up now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it to a rolling boil, and then I'm gonna let it boil for 2 minutes, and then I'm just gonna turn the eye off and let it set for 8 minutes. And go ahead and get my baking soda, get it opened up and ready to go. What I'm doing in the meantime, I'm gonna give these eggs a vinegar bath. So come over here and get me a bowl, and I'm just gonna pour a little bit of vinegar in there. Let me take the seal off this. So really the only thing we're going to be using this vinegar for in this bowl is to just kind of neutralize our eggs in a minute. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so we've got our eggs to a rolling boil, so I'm gonna start it on a timer of 2 minutes. We'll just let that come to a good rolling boil. I'm gonna put that lid back on there where it don't slosh out so much. I'll let it kind of sit on there at an angle. How about the sugar? Where's the sugar at? Hey, babe, where's the sugar at? Oh, here it is. All right, our 2 minutes is up. By the way, I almost forgot we're going to be using sugar also. Not a whole lot, but. Okay, so our timer's up for that. So I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm gonna start another timer for 8 minutes and just let that run. Okay, let's go over here and we're gonna get our jars prepped up. All right, so like I said, in these jars I'm gonna put just a few onion slivers in there, but I guess probably 4 or 5 in each one. All right, them eggs is heating up now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it to a rolling boil, and then I'm gonna let it boil for 2 minutes, and then I'm just gonna turn the eye off and let it set for 8 minutes. And go ahead and get my baking soda, get it opened up and ready to go. While I'm doing the meantime, I'm gonna give these eggs a vinegar bath. So come over here and get me a bowl, and I'm just gonna pour a little bit of vinegar in there. Let me take the seal off this. So really the only thing we're going to be using this vinegar for in this bowl is to just kind of neutralize our eggs in a minute. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so we've got our eggs to a rolling boil, so I'm gonna start it on a timer of 2 minutes. We'll just let that come to a good rolling boil. Okay, so our timer's up for that. So I'm gonna cut that off, and then I'm gonna start another timer for 8 minutes. and just let that run. Okay, let's go over here and we're gonna get our jars prepped up. All right, so like I said, in these jars, I'm gonna put just a few onion slivers in there, but I guess probably 4 or 5 in each one. And that ought to be enough. I hope to be able to do 4 jars. I might be overshooting. I ain't got but 25 eggs, and my chickens don't lay really large eggs. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a 1 teaspoon of this pickling spice to each jar. And it's probably gonna make me start sneezing in just a minute. All right, there we go. I'm gonna add just 1/2 teaspoon of garlic to each jar. There we go. And then I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of dill weed to each jar. Okay. So we can see kind of what it looks like in there. It's gonna have a good, I guess you call it a presence whenever it's filled up and looks real nice. So now then everything else we're gonna do is we're gonna make a brine, and that will be the rest of our seasonings. All right, so our timer is up on our eggs. All right, so what I'm gonna wanna do now is I'm gonna wind up running some cold water in there with my eggs, and I'm gonna start slowly pouring out the hot water. You'll see in a lot of other videos they use ice water. I'm not wanting to use ice water. I just want to cool it off enough that it can be handled. I left the timer on. All right. All right, so now then what we want to do is, here's where my secret comes in with the baking soda. We're just going to take and just throw the baking soda to it, stir it around, And this is the secret to it, is this soda water. It helps with this eggshell. And the vinegar, it just helps neutralize it. Kind of takes some of the sulfur smell off of it. Alright, so let's come over here and just kind of crack the egg a little bit. Oh, I put it in the wrong one. And it should just make it fairly simple to peel. Yeah, once you get it turned loose there it is. Kind of wash around that vinegar just a little bit and put it over in the bowl. There we go. Now look there, see how easy. First I didn't crack it enough, but got it in there now. I meant to actually leave that in there. So you can just kind of just crack it all over. Maybe roll it around a little bit. Uh-oh, I messed that egg up. We're still gonna use it. No, we're gonna waste that one. You learn from your mistakes. Got this too big of a hurry. All right, and I'll just come back whenever I get them all peeled. All right, and I'll just come back whenever I get them all peeled. Okay, so I let the egg soak in that vinegar, and it kind of got the sulfur smell off of it. There's a few little pieces of egg on there, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the water on, and I'm just gonna kind of rinse these eggs off and just put them over here in another bowl. I guess I can do more than one time, but I just kind of want to just make sure that all the shells are off of the eggs. I kind of rushed on it a little bit, and I had some of them that broke on me. That's okay. All right, so I've got my eggs there. We'll set them to the side and we'll be ready to use them in a minute. Now we're going to go over here and start making our brine. All right, so our brine consists of 2 cups of white vinegar, I'm going to use 2 cups of apple cider vinegar. And now if you don't want to use apple cider vinegar, you can use 4 cups of regular white vinegar. This right here just kind of adds a little bit different flavor to it, gives a little bit of color. Makes a good presentation. All right. Now we're going to add 4 cups of water. There's 2. And there's 4. Now I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of sugar. Make it too sweet, but this gives a little bit of a nice flavor. And then I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of salt. Now I use the Cannon pickling salt. You can use any kind of non-iodized salt. You can even use like pink Himalayan salt. I know a lot of people like to use that. This ain't exact science, but it's going everywhere, but so we're just kind of roughing it. There we go. And that's it. Now we're just gonna get a spoon. We're gonna turn it on high and bring this to a boil. Just kind of stirring it occasionally. Dissolve that sugar and water. All right, while that's coming to a boil, I'm gonna kind of do some cleanup real quick. And then once it gets up boiling, we'll come back. Okay, while the water's coming up to temperature, I'm gonna go ahead and start putting the eggs in here. I think I'm gonna do about 6 eggs in each one. That wanting to be stubborn. Might only put 5 in that one. I'm going to put an extra one in that one. I think I can get another one in there. There we go. I'm going to kind of see if I can't push them down below the lip of the jar. All right, there we go. So now we're ready for brine. It should be almost up to a boil now. Everything's dissolved in it, so I'm gonna just bring it over here. I got my egg rack in the way. Let's bring it over here where I've got it a little bit closer to what I'm doing. Get a ladle. Now, if we don't use all this pickle brine, you save it up for a week. You know, if you get some more eggs and want to do it later. I'm just gonna put my funnel in there and fill it up to about the I'm gonna fill it up to about this first line right here. Just a little bit more than that one. All right. Trying to keep my hands out of the way of the camera, but it can be a little bit difficult sometimes and not make a mess. All right. Might be able to add just a little bit more to that one. Okay. All right, that's about as much as we're gonna do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put these lids on here, and I'm just gonna turn it till it quits turning. That's plenty tight enough. You don't have to crank down on it. All right, let's do what they call finger tight, but see how good that's looking already. Now we're gonna go ahead and put it over here in our canner. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my jar holder. I'm gonna take it and use it to just submerge that. Just as long as the lid's covered, that's fine. But just make sure that you've got a rack in the bottom of whatever you're using. See, I've got a rack down there where when it starts boiling, bubbles have an area to escape up through instead of rattling your jars. All right, so I'm gonna leave them in there. I'm gonna let this get up to a rolling boil. And then once it gets up to a rolling boil, I'm gonna leave them in there for 10 minutes. If you're using quart jars, you're going to leave it in there for 15 minutes. So once it gets boiling, I'll come back after it's done. Okay, we've got our water boiling now. I wouldn't say it's a heavy rolling boil, but it is a boil. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to let it boil for 10 minutes with the jars in there, and then we'll take them out and let them get sealed, and we'll have some pickled eggs. All right, it's magic time. Our time's up on the canning process, so let's get them and bring them out here. Wow, that's beautiful. Let me bring in for a close-up of what those look like. Man, ain't that pretty. They still just a cooking. Hey y'all notice here in a minute these things are gonna start popping. I think that one already has. As the lids start cooling off, they'll start popping and sealing. And once they get sealed, then we'll be able to take the lids off. And you can make sure it's got a good seal that way. Well, I can't tell y'all how much I've enjoyed doing this with y'all. Hey, down in the comments, tell me what kind of spices do you like in your pickled eggs? You know, I just use some store-bought kind, but I want to know what kind of seasoning y'all like putting in y'all's pickled eggs. But I'm glad y'all joined me. I want you to know that I love you and God loves you. And say hey to your mom and them for me.